Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Welcome to the Sapulpa High School Veterans Day Assembly and celebration of the 245th birthday of the United States Marine Corps. Please rise for the marching on of the colors and remain standing for the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Second Lieutenant Clanton will now read the 13th and 38th Commandants of the Marine Corps birthday messages.
On November 1st, 1921, John A. Lejeune, 13th Commandant of the Marine Corps, directed that a reminder of the honorable service of the Corps be published by every command to all Marines throughout the globe. On the birthday of our Corps, since that day, the men and women of our Corps have continued to distinguish themselves on many battlefields and foreign shores, in war and peace. On this birthday of the Corps, therefore, in recognition of the will of the 13th Commandant, a reminder of the Corps' honorable service is published as follows. On November 10, 1775, a Corps of Marines was created by a resolution of the Continental Congress. Since that date, many thousands of men have borne the name Marine. In memory of them, it is fitting that we who are Marines should commemorate the birthday of our Corps. Hence, by calling to mind the glories of its long and illustrious history. The record of our Corps is one which bears comparison with that of the most famous military organizations in the world's history. During 90 of the 146 years of its existence, the Marine Corps has been in action against the nation's foes. From the Battle of Trenton to Aragon, Marines have won foremost honors in war and in long era of tranquility at home. Generations after generation of Marines have grown great in war in both hemispheres and every corner of the seven seas, so that our country and its citizens may enjoy peace and security. In every battle and skirmish since the birth of the Corps, Marines have acquainted themselves with the greatest distinction, winning new honors on each occasion until the term Marine has come to signify all that is highest in the military efficiency and solidarity virtue. This high name of distinction and solidarity repute we who are Marines today have received from those who precede us in the Corps. With it, we also receive from them the eternal spirit which has animated our Corps from generation and has long been the distinctive mark of Marines in every age. So long as that spirit continues to flourish, Marines will be found equal to every emergency in the future as they have been in the past. And the me of our nation will regard us as worthy successors to the long line of illustrious men who have served as soldiers of the sea since the founding of the Corps. a message from the Commandant of the Marine Corps. If there were a watchword for 2020, the shortlist would certainly include change, uncertainty, and adaptation. This new dynamic and uncertain environment has impacted how we recruit and train Marines, deploy aboard ship, and even how we honor our Corps' hallowed tradition. But adapting to change and uncertainty is nothing new for Marines. It is what we have done for 245 years and what is expected of us as the nation's force in readiness. Where others see challenges, Marines see opportunities. We do not take a knee. We will always be ready to answer the nation's call no matter the crisis. In a world of seemingly relentless change, uncertainty, some things remain constant, our core values: honor, courage, and commitment. These values are the very heart of our ability to be most ready when the nation is least ready. It's honor that gives us the uncompromising sense of personal integrity and accountability. Courage that allows us to face any circumstance with ironclad resolves us to do what is right. And commitment that binds us together as a family and drives us toward excellence. And while our core values might never change, the way we give life to them requires constant vigilance. This year's national conversation about race reminds us that we must all do better to embody our service's values. Commemorating the 245th birthday of our Corps offers us a chance to reflect on our history. We who serve today stand upon the shoulders of giants. While this year's many challenges are significant and unique, they are not unprecedented. It is important to remember that our nation's Corps have endured difficult times in our past. This year, for example, marks the 75th anniversary of the brutal battles in the Pacific, when soldiers of the sea defined the term uncommon valor on the black sands of Iwo Jima. 55 years since Marines landed in Denag, and a decade since our struggle with the Taliban in the Helmand River Valley. We remember the service and sacrifice of all Marines and honor the legacy passed down through generations. Our continuing obligation is to honor their legacy by making meaningful contributions to what they started. From the past, we draw strength, pride, and responsibility to carry the warfighting heritage our President has built. We must also recognize our tradition of continuous adaptation, one that should inspire our current force modernization and innovation efforts. As has been the case in the past, today's threats require us to fight as a cohesive team, and our ability to succeed will depend on honor, courage, and commitment of each individual Marine. From recruiting individuals of great intelligence, strength, spirit, and diversity to evolving how we train, educate, and mentor Marines throughout their careers, we remain dedicated to developing the world's finest warfighters guided by our core values. In a year of significant change and uncertainty, I am reminded of the words American novelist Non Das Paso. In times of change and danger, when there is a quicksand of fear under men's reasoning, a sense of continually with generations gone before can stretch like a lifeline across the scary prison. Never forget what you do today becomes the foundation for generations of Marines that will follow. There is no challenge we cannot overcome together by holding fast to our core values. Happy 245th birthday, Marines. Semper Fidelis, David H. Berger, General U.S. Marine Corps, Commandant of the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps birthday cake cutting ceremony is important to all Marines as an annual renewal of each Marine's commitment to the Corps. The Corps' commitment to our nation's quest for peace and freedom worldwide. The birthday cake is traditionally cut with the Mamluk sword as a reminder that we are a band of warriors committed to carrying the sword. So that our nations may live in peace, the Mamluk sword gets its name from the cross-hilt and ivory grip design, similar to the swords used for centuries by Ottoman warriors. The Marine Corps tradition of carrying this sword dates from Lieutenant Presley O'Bannon's assault of Durham, Tripoli in 1805, where he is said to have won the sword and the governor of the city. As is our custom, the first piece of cake will be presented to our guest of honor, Brigadier General Smith. By tradition, the second piece of cake is presented to the oldest cadet present. Ladies and gentlemen, the oldest cadet present is Cadet Sergeant Brandon Wynn. Cadet Sergeant Wynn was born February 6, 2002 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The third piece of cake is presented to the youngest Marine present. Ladies and gentlemen, the youngest cadet present is Cadet Private Tyler Stidman. Cadet Private Stidman was born December 23, 2006 in Tallahassee, Oklahoma.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the celebration of the Marine Corps' 245th birthday. Please rise while we remember our prisoners of war and those missing in action. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the right side of the stage. You may have noticed the table set before you. It is filled with symbolism. Let me explain. This table is set for our prisoners of war and those missing in action from all wars. They are not with us today. Their chairs are empty, but saved for their return. Let us remember the men and women prisoners of war from all branches of service that are too often forgotten. Let us remember them. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms, so that their children could remain free. Remember. The lone candle symbolizes the frailty of a prisoner alone, trying to stand up against his oppressors. Remember. There is salt on the plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait and remember. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight. Maybe tomorrow, if we remember. As we look upon this empty table, do not remember ghosts from the past. Remember our comrades. Remember those whom we depended on in battle. They depend on us to bring them home. Remember our friends. They are the ones we love, who love life and freedom as we do. They will remember what we do. Please honor and remember them. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my honor this morning to introduce our guest of honor, Brigadier General Hopper T. Smith, a native of Tulsa. General Smith entered the National Guard in 1983 and has served for the last 37 years in various leadership positions across Oklahoma and abroad. He is currently serving as the Commander, Land Component Command, Oklahoma National Guard.
Well, thank you very much for having me here this evening, or this morning. To correct the record, I'm retired. I'm not serving as the Land Component Commander, although that was my previous position. You know, whenever I come to events like this and I hear the Star-Spangled Banner and I'm in uniform, I'm supposed to stand at attention and not render a salute unless we're covered. And if you're covered, then you render a salute. But I always have the reflex to want to put my hand over my heart. And so it's a deliberate effort on my part to just remain at a position of attention. And that's the salute that we provide. But it's a good thing that we want to render some symbol of reverence and respect to things like our national anthem, to taps when it plays over the POW MIA table, and things like that. These are good things for this country to hold sacred, as well as Veterans Day. We're here to celebrate Veterans Day and the Marine Corps' birthday. It's interesting that the Star-Spangled Banner was not written as a national anthem. It became our national anthem, but it was originally written as a poem. And as you may recall, it was the poem was about the bombardment of Fort McHenry outside of Baltimore Harbor in the War of 1812. In fact, it was 1814. At that time, the United States and Britain were not very good friends. Now, 100 years later, in World War I, they became good friends. We became good friends. But then we were not good friends. Francis Scott Key was a civilian detainee aboard that ship when he wrote the Star-Spangled Banner, that poem. And it's an interesting poem because he describes the bombardment, and I think that he would have something to tell you today about resilience and about living in difficult times and challenging times and uncertain times, because he certainly did. He was born in 1779, so he was born during the War of Independence, and throughout his life, he lived in a time of conflict between the United States and Britain throughout his entire life. Just like you were born after 9/11, and throughout your entire life, you've lived in a time of conflict. Now that conflict seems to be subsiding now, but you never know. And these more recent times have brought in some additional uncertainty that I know you all have had to deal with. What would Francis Scott Key say to you? I think what he says to you is in the Star-Spangled Banner, especially in the fourth verse. The first three verses are about the bombardment. He describes the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air. Those are from the British warships bombarding Fort McHenry. They were using state-of-the-art weapons at the time, Congreve rockets, which were designed to catch fire or to start fires on the other end of whoever was on the target end of that rocket. Not very accurate, but very effective against wooden structures. And they had used their Navy and their Army to raise Washington, D.C. just a few weeks before. Now the British Navy and Army were on their way to Baltimore to destroy it, to bring the United States to a position where we would want to sue for peace, and Britain could then gain additional land holdings in North America and what we had intended to become the United States of America, all land west of the Ohio River. So that was what was at stake. That's what Francis Scott Key was dealing with, but he had to be tough. And I think he would tell us to be tough. In the Star-Spangled Banner, at the end of each verse, it makes reference to the flag and the land of the free and the home of the brave. What did he mean by that? Each verse ends with that. And at the end, he also makes reference to the land of the free and the home of the brave. The first verse ends in a question. Is the flag still waving? Right? Over the land of the free and the home of the brave. And then in each subsequent verse, he describes, again, the outcome of the battle. But the so what comes at the end, the final verse. And I think this is what he would want us to take to heart, where he says, "Oh, thus be it ever where free men shall stand between their loved homes and the foe's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may our heaven-rescued land praise the power that has made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must, when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust." And so that's where you can derive some strength. And in the end, he says, "And the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave." So those are the words of Francis Scott Key to you as we celebrate Veterans Day and the Marine Corps' birthday. So God bless each one of you. God bless the great Sepulpa chieftains. God bless our beloved Marine Corps, and God bless America. Thank you.
General. Aye. General, thank you very much for those remarks. As a token of our appreciation, we would like to send you taking the time to think about us. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now play all the service hymns. During a particular branch of service, if you have had a family member serve, please rise in support of them, to include if you're watching from the classrooms. The United States Army. United States Navy. United States Coast Guard. United States Air Force. United States Marine Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony today. Thank you very much for all that you were doing in support of this. We could not do this without the help of the choir and the band, Chief to Television, and our IT department. Thank you and have a great day.